Guys, welcome to What's Barking Local. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Wednesday afternoon. It's great to be with you. My name is Jerry Miller. Our star of the show, Patty Bowden. She is on location doing some research and recharging for her journey as the fabulous businesswoman and entrepreneur behind Animal Connection. And this show, powered by Animal Connection for more than 17 years, the best pet store in the country, has successfully served Charlottesville, Central Virginia, and Albemarle County. Patty, you are missed. Harris Tolber is our director. We will go to that top cam, which we call the studio camera, and welcome two fantastic gentlemen to the show. We have Bart over here. Bart is fantastic people. Bart Lawson. He is representing High Tour Gear Exchange, and the captain, Konrad Zeller, in the house of the Rivanna Yacht Club, and also the man behind the businesswoman, Patty Bowden. Yep. Why don't we, Konrad, my friend, start with you?
Okay.
And spotlight who the captain, Konrad Zeller, is for our viewing audience.
Okay. I was born and raised on the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
Love big open water. And unfortunately went to JMU for college, where I was away from big water and didn't get a chance to paddle much. Graduated JMU, came to Charlottesville in January 1986.
Wow.
To work at UVA as a laboratory technician and research assistant. Spent about 4 or 5 years there, then had to take some time out to take care of an ill parent, and then did not want to go back to windowless laboratories, and then started working for Rivanna Water and Sewer Authority for the last 18 years. And after my parent passed away, I had free time again, and I started canoeing again. And I've been canoeing locally, whitewater, brackish tidal water where the good stuff is, and out in the Chesapeake Bay ever since.
Canoeing around here, good, great. How do you characterize it?
April through early June is great. And after that, you just got to wait for a hurricane to get some more water in the rivers.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Let's welcome Bart to the show. Bart, same question for you. Introduce yourself, hobbies, passions, interests to the audience.
Yeah, my name is Bart Lawson. I am the manager at High Tour Gear Exchange. I work under Seth and Aaron Herman. They're great local business owners. We just started High Tour Gear Exchange a little over a year ago. We are an outdoor gear consignment shop. We have my dog Lazarus there fairly often, and we try to serve the community, trying to put used gear back into the community. I was born in Charlottesville, raised here. I actually grew up on the rivers with my mom, who Konrad knows well.
Yep.
We kayaked growing up, and I've since then switched over to a canoe, which I think is the way to go. I spend all my time either running or on the river with my dog.
High Tour Gear Exchange, and it's not tour, it's tour.
Yes.
Introduce the public to what is a fabulous business, a newish business, a business that got props and accolades at the Charlottesville Climate Collaborative Awards Gala.
Absolutely.
One of the awards winners. Very quickly making a very strong name for itself, Bart.
Yeah, so High Tour is a wilderness area in upstate New York. So Seth, he grew up there, spent a lot of time outside with his dad, hiking, fishing, canoeing, all the same things we're doing down here. And he wanted to make a little homage to that place that he grew up. So when he started the store, he kind of modeled it after some of those gear exchanges up north, like Outdoor Gear Exchange in Vermont, and then added that little taste of High Tour to it.
I see him grinding on Saturday morning at ACAC.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always got his head focused on his laptop. Is it the child care that's appealing?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. A lot of parents know that is a great option for them. You get that membership at ACAC or maybe the Y, and you can take advantage of that childcare, use that Wi-Fi. He does our accounting on Saturdays, so that's a great opportunity for him to have a little time to himself, and have a little quiet as well.
I love it. Now let's throw this to you.
High Tour is great. I mean, they've got a big chunk of my money sitting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bought a kayak recently from them for a trip to the Chesapeake Bay, so Patty and I could tandem kayak. And I got a great set of snowshoes there that I took to Montana.
Nice.
When Patty went there in January.
Nice.
How about this question for you? It seems like the kayaking and canoeing community in Central Virginia intimate, tight-knit. A lot of folks know each other here. I mean, Patty's always talking on this show of Wednesday nights and the fun that you guys have. You have happy hour. You guys all bring food out.
Absolutely.
You tie the kayaks and canoes together, and you just have a freaking party.
Yeah, and it's like a synthesis of different places I've been. In between my stint as a UVA person and Rivanna Water and Sewer, I worked for a company, was a pharmaceutical processing company that had a lot of bad energy. So me and my best friend Dave Dolak used to go out to the newly opened up Ruby Tuesdays on Tuesday to just burn off negative energy. Later, when I got him into canoeing and kayaking, we used to just go out on the water Tuesday or Wednesday night to have chicken wings. Then I got involved with the Float Fishermen of Virginia, which is a canoe camping club, and is kind of like a rolling picnic down the river. And I sort of synthesized the two ideas to where we started picnicking with other people on the water. So we kind of let girls into the club, and then the food suddenly just got a lot better. And there's a good, friendly culinary competition with this. Right. You know, it's like, it's happy hour and a pass-around potluck dinner on the water. Every Wednesday night, launching at the South Rivanna boat ramp at the end of Woodburn Road around 5:30. And it's just a potluck dinner, usually Tupperware with pass-around finger food. It works best.
So you've made water the profession, the passion, the hobby, the love.
Yeah, and it works out good. It's good to have a job where Mother Nature determines how your day is going to be. And being really in sync.
said.
You know everything about the river, because where I have to process water and purify it into drinking water begins at the spine of the Blue Ridge. And I know that whole watershed intimately because, A, I like to paddle it, and B, whatever happens up there is going to affect me at work.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. With two fellas that know the area inside and out. You said since 86, born and raised.
89.
Since 89.
Yeah.
Bart has a dog that I think is the most fabulous dog ever, Lazarus.
Yeah, this is Lazarus. Yeah, just hanging out right now.
Hanging out by his feet right there. There you see Lazarus propping up if we're going to catch him on camera. He's so well behaved. Let me start with you, Bart. The whole premise of what we wanted to do was to spotlight adventures where we could have with our dogs. Open-ended question, anywhere you want to go, your first adventure spot.
All right, well, my first adventure spot, 2-3 times a week is going to be just head straight to the Rivanna River. I've got a PFD for Laz. I hop in the canoe. We float. He runs the vast majority of that time, whether he's swimming or on the shore. And once we finish that float, we get out, and then we run back to the car. So we make it a whole event. We try to do it after work, and sometimes we'll even do it on weekends, maybe make it a little longer.
What are you thinking, Konrad?
Yeah, the Rivanna is great because there's, it's a system of pools and shallows, the way the geology runs. And I remember taking the miniature schnauzers that I used to have on the Meachams, and there would be long stretches where you could be in the channel and your dog could just run along in a couple inches of water on the sandbars. It was a great...
That's awesome. How about, I love Walnut Creek. I got 2 German Shepherds. I'm often taking them to Walnut Creek. I'm going to stay out of the way, though, and just pick y'all's brains. Safety first is important, especially when it comes with animals, water, and public spaces. Throw it to you. What are we doing here from a safety standpoint to optimize the experience?
So, obviously, if you're in a place where there are leash laws, the dog is on the leash. It's not always about you. Sometimes it's about other people, whether or not they feel comfortable or how their dogs are going to react. So, I always keep a leash on Laz. I've actually got a loop that I keep on his collar, and I'll flip it off if I need an emergency, and then I try to keep a longer leash on all the time. And then I just spend a lot of time in those off-leash areas. So the Rivanna River Trail down by the Riverview Park has a loop on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It's off-leash. And then there are a few other spots around town that you can go that you can let your dog off-leash. But, primarily we just try to stay in control wherever we are.
What are you thinking, Konrad?
Yeah, and there still is...
Well said.
There's a lot of great spots in Charlottesville, and there's always that calculation whether to go off-leash or stay on leash because your dog really does need off-leash time.
Right.
But at the same time, there's a safety factor. I mean, there used to be, and still is, a strong dog walking community like every day at 4:30 on Observatory Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, they even got to the point where they had like a little mailbox nailed to a tree with dog treats in it.
Oh, wow.
And everybody knew each other.
I mountain bike there.
Yeah.
You're totally right about that.
And there was one guy that I knew, it was off leash because generally off leash is pretty safe there because most of the dogs are knifed, but deer went by, his dog went after it, over the bypass, the deer made it, the dog got nailed.
Dang.
And it's always a calculation and a trade-off between, a good life for the dog and safety.
Yeah.
Rivanna, near and dear to your heart. Other adventure spots.
Shenandoah National Park.
Yes.
We used to do long trips from when you go to Sugar Hollow, you can branch either north or south, and you got long roads all the way up to the parkway.
Yep.
And one of the things you really need to bring for a dog sometimes is a Benadryl that you can break up. Because one time we were going from Sugar Hollow south to Jarman's Gap. On the way up, I got stung by something, about 2/3 of the way up, didn't know what it was, blew it off. On the way back, same spot, hear yelping, you turn around, one of the schnauzers is covered in yellow jackets.
Dang.
So we take off running, and poor Cedric, the schnauzer, didn't run with us. He was still back there, like, trying to figure out what was going on. So I had to go back.
Into the...
One of the bravest things I ever did.
Seriously?
Yeah. Take off the straw hat, and I'm whacking bees out of the way, and I could actually, almost with your fingernails, get bees out of his fur.
Wow.
So I got him going to start running. Thankfully, my ex-wife had the brains to have a first aid kit, which I never carried. I was too dumb or just too nonchalant.
Yeah.
And was able to break a Benadryl into quarters, because at this point the dog's gums were white, and he recovered. By the time we ended up the trip and got back to the car, he didn't have to go to the vet.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's a story.
Yeah, so it's you can never pack enough stuff when you're outside, but I think an antihistamine like that is kind of a smart thing to have.
How about, Bart, a first-hand story from you and your adventures?
Yeah, okay. So, speaking of first aid, I actually have a little first aid kit here with me. That's one of the things I brought today is like my pack. What do I take with me?
Okay, and we'll get you into the mic here.
And so I have this pack here, and I have a little first aid kit. And just recently, I had a little scare like this. Same thing with Laz. He got stung, and he started to swell up, and he wasn't doing great. So I put a couple of Benadryl in there, and that's with me all the time now.
How much do you break it down for a dog of Lazarus's size?
So
Is he what, 80, 90 pounds?
Yeah, so for Laz, he gets one. He gets a whole pill. It's great.
Wow.
Super easy for him. For a smaller dog, you are going to want to break it up. And that research is out there on Google. You can find out based on the weight what you should be giving your dog. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. You walk through a nest and maybe you set them off and your dog's a little further behind. And, when they get gotten, they don't really necessarily know where to go.
Yeah.
So, he's...
What was he doing?
It wasn't even him. It was just me. I was walking down a trail, and I disturbed a nest, and one got me on the leg, and, I knew to go. And I turned around, and there he is, turned around wondering what's on him, what's on his rump. And he got stung and started to swell up a little bit, gave him a little bit of Benadryl, and he was good. But, from then on, I was watching to see, how's he going to react? Because if the Benadryl doesn't work, you got to go to the vet. You got to, maybe get some steroids or at the very least have him watched. Yeah. That's the big one is yellow jackets, those ones in the ground that you don't see.
Jump in here, Konrad.
Yeah, and you never know what you're going to run into. One time, we took the schnauzers up to Devil's Staircase in northern Shenandoah Park, which is you go up one ridge, or actually up one river valley, over a ridge, and back down another creek valley. And in the process of getting back to the car, we went through a really brushy area under power lines. So we're driving back to our B&B, and my ex-wife screamed so loud, I almost ran off the road. The dog had so many ticks on it, you could see the fur moving.
Oh.
So I have to stop the car, put the dog on the hood, start combing out the ticks and everything. We got like 30 ticks off of ourselves.
Yeah.
But you just never know what you're going to run into.
How about the copperhead stories? Any for you guys?
I don't have any dangerous ones of my own. We will run by them fairly often down on that paved trail on the Rivanna. And a big time is dusk, so they'll come out. That paved trail is still a little warm from the sun. They're hanging out. There are frogs jumping. They're grabbing stuff. On average, they're not looking to hurt you.
Yeah.
But definitely, steer clear of them. I do have a friend that wasn't paying enough attention, and she got a little close, and she did get bitten last year. Luckily, it was an adult, so it was a dry bite. Oftentimes an adult copperhead is not really, they're not looking to eat you.
Right, it's
so
the young ones that release the venom.
Exactly. Well, I mean, not always, but
Right.
yes, they don't necessarily know not to.
Sure.
So she was bitten and, called 911, ambulance showed up, she's in the ambulance, they're giving her fluids, and they're just like keeping an eye on her, making sure her heart rate doesn't get out of control, and she was fine. So, having a cell phone's great, but just knowing when those snakes are going to be out is going to be helpful.
How about you,
Yeah,
Konrad?
I'm extremely lucky. The dogs that I've had have never really encountered a snake. There's been times when I've been walking on the Blue Ridge when I suddenly had to stop and then think about where to put the leg down because there was a timber rattler right there.
Yeah.
But I've been extremely lucky, never got bit, and fortunately never had dogs that found a copperhead or a rattlesnake.
How about on the water?
Same thing. I've just been really lucky. And I see a lot of brown water snakes, which unfortunately people confuse
Right.
with
Absolutely.
copperheads and kill every snake they see, which infuriates me. But,
Right, that's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
but you just
Love the black
Leave-
snakes.
leave
Come to my
stuff-
house, black snakes, please.
just
Absolutely.
leave stuff alone. But yeah, I've never had a bad encounter with a copperhead on the river.
What are you doing as far as dogs, canoe, kayak on the water?
Picking out a good PFD can sometimes be difficult because the mini schnauzers were 18 to 20 pounds. They were big as mini schnauzers go. And going
Personal
through-
flotation device?
Absolutely. The right life jacket, because some dogs like to swim, some dogs are lean and rangy, and they sink like a rock when they hit the water, especially if they're not used to it. And sometimes you just have to experiment and burn a little money to see which one, because we bought life jackets, put them on the schnauzer, put them in the pool, and the dog starts to float upside down. And then later we found one that fit perfectly and kept the dog that didn't like to swim upright and kept its head above the water.
We're putting life jackets on screen as we speak. Jump in here, Bart. Talk to us about this.
So I've got a life jacket on Laz every time we go out on the water. So
Even though he's a great swimmer.
he's a great swimmer,
He's a lab.
He's a lab,
Yeah.
and he does really well. But he wants to be in the water. He's gonna swim until he is exhausted. So a lot of it is peace of mind for myself. So I can go out in the canoe and I can know he's fine. He can get a little further behind me. He can paddle around. He can get out. But sometimes he wants to be with me, so he's gonna stay in the water and he's gonna get more and more tired. So I have a rough wear PFD that was handed down to me by my mom. It didn't quite fit her dog. I'm actually looking into going to Animal Connection to check out their stock because he's getting a little bit bigger. He's a big dog. He's athletic, so he's strong in the chest, and we're looking to upgrade right now.
I love it. Animal Connection in the McIntyre Plaza, guys. Over 17 years in operation.
Yeah, they've got Easy Dog products, which we found to be a good fit. And early on, also in experimentation, we found that Stearns made some pretty good stuff that fit dogs well. But Easy Dog stuff is pretty good.
What are we looking for as far as the fit?
You want to try to find the ones we had trouble with were the ones that just fit over the dog's back and had a strap.
Yeah.
The ones that actually have a flotation band under the neck
Yep.
will keep a dog safe, especially if you dump out in whitewater.
Bart, your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. The under the neck is so important. So that same one, that one I've got, essentially where it buckles, a whole half of it is part of the flotation device. So that's the whole thing. You got to keep the dog's head up out of the water. They got to breathe. So if you don't have that, oftentimes they'll roll sideways or their head gets a little deep and they start coughing and choking. And no one wants to have to jump in after their dog.
Right.
I've done it. And
What was
you
that
gotta be
story?
prepared. So that was actually his first time out.
Yeah.
And
How old was he?
he was probably about 8 months old.
Okay, so
he
young.
was he was young.
Yeah.
He was small. We had been swimming together in the shallows. Took him out in the canoe, And I was thinking, oh, he's a lab. He's a great swimmer. This is going to be totally fine. I let him out. He swam, and he got his ears wet, and he started shaking his head. And once they start shaking their head, they just can't get it back. So he dropped his back legs. He started going under and coming back up. So I jumped in and got him, picked him up. It was easy, but that was the last time I took him out without a life jacket.
Yeah. How about the commands? We talked about this off air briefly. We all want to optimize the experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to embarrass you a little bit here. You clearly have an incredible dog and have optimized this dog connection you have here. How do you optimize an outdoor experience with your loved one?
Yeah, so, we all can't be so lucky.
Your dog's a rock star.
He's a rock star. And we worked a lot together early on, and he is also a really good boy. So one of the things that I really focused on with him was recall. So he's got to come when I need him to, especially if we're at a place like that Rivanna Trail where it is off leash, but not every dog is off leash. So if he's up ahead of me, I want him to come back when there's another dog on leash. I don't want that person to feel uncomfortable because my dog is off leash. So that's the first one is come, and we're talking immediately. So lots of treats, lots of positive reinforcement.
In your pocket?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I keep them in my pocket, or I've got. I started out with a clicker, and then I changed over to snapping. So a lot of that positive reinforcement is then changed over into the clicker or the snap. So I don't have to carry him all the time, which is great. But yeah, he has to come back. He has to sit. He has to wait until I know whether or not that person wants to meet. They may just keep on going. So he'll sit and he'll wait, and then we'll introduce the dogs if it seems right. Otherwise, we're just on our merry way. We don't have to talk to everybody.
What are you thinking, Konrad?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have no other training whatsoever, the recall command is critical. And the earlier you get it as a puppy, the better. Now, that said, obedience training, at least basic obedience training, early on is incredibly important because it helps, you and the dog bond. And there's some good, puppy school and puppy campus classes around. But a recall is incredibly important.
What else do you suggest?
So, kind of in part with that recall, I started out early with him with a stop command. So if he's 45, 50 feet ahead of me, and I want him to come, usually I'll tell him to stop first, because maybe he doesn't need to come. Maybe he just needs to stop. He's got to wait for me. Yeah. So stop is big, whether it's stop when he's coming back to me, I see something, there's a snake in the way, I just want him to stop and stay where he is. So stop has been so useful in so many different aspects.
And keep your eyes open. I mean, there's been times when I saw something ahead on the trail that the dog smelled and was getting wound up but did not see yet. And the stop command is really important because once they see that skunk or the possum, or in one case, a bear, it was one of the worst trips on the Jarman's Trail. The stop command is really good.
We're getting some love from a lot of people. Let's thank some of our viewers for watching the show. You're getting props right now from Colleen Wise Owens. She says, ahoy, Captain Konrad, hello. Mike McLaughlin watching right now. Amy Wiggs Horn, Bellamy Brown running for City Council, Mary Blake, Charlie Scott from Albemarle High School, Latita LaShawn Curry Stinney, Keely Kitchens, Brent Waters, Adam James, Mateus, who is a phenomenal German Shepherd, watching right now. Robert Alley watching right now. Wow. Give it a like, give it a share. If you want to relay any perspective to the fellas, I'm happy to do that. Yeah. What other commands do you like to have in your toolbox?
Let's see. So one that I don't know if I definitely didn't come up with it, but just it seemed right. I started working with other side is what I tell him. So if I want him on my left and he's on my right, I say other side. If he's on my left and I want him on my right, I say other side. It works no matter where he is. He doesn't have to know left from right. He just needs to know that he's in the wrong place. And oftentimes that's in those places where dogs are on leashes. Whether or not he's on a leash, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I just want him away from that other dog. Or, sometimes we're on the street and there are cars going by and I don't want him on my side that's on the street. I want him next to the wall.
I love that. Smart dog right there. Any hidden gems we haven't covered?
I just want to said something about life jackets.
Yeah.
Another thing that comes in really handy is a life jacket of a bright color. Because there's been many times when we the whole crowd pulls over on a sandbar, we're all having a picnic, and then, oh crap, where's the dog?
Yeah.
And
you see a lot of those camouflage life jackets, and I'm like, why do you have a camouflage life jacket? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Why would you
It's
want to
safety,
hide
yeah.
when you need help?
Yeah. And then oh, thank goodness, there the dog is.
Yeah.
How about other places that you've had some fun at?
Jarman's Gap was really good. I had a lot of adventures there, both stepping over snakes, the Yellow Jacket incident, and one time we were hiking up there, about halfway up, it was past Blue Hole, but well before Jarman's Gap. The mini schnauzer started acting funny. And I look up ahead, and from our perspective, the high side of the mountain is here, and then it goes down to a ravine to the Mormons River. And I see a bear's butt go into the grass and brush about 50 yards ahead off the trail.
Shoot.
And at that point, the dog smelled it and just took off. I mean, there was no recalling it. And I could just see the dog go up the fire road, past the point where the bear went into the grass, do a 270-degree turn, and just follow that trail right on over. And the only thing that saved us was the mini schnauzer did not like water. So I was able to run down the hill after it, and it had stopped at this creek and was trying to figure out an easy way to get over the creek, and I was able to get my hands on the dog. But that could have turned into a very long day.
Bart, you are outside constantly. You're around town constantly.
Yeah.
Other aspects or other spots that you bring your dog to that we should get out?
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
restaurants, maybe around town, anywhere you want to go.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking trails, but of course there are restaurants too. So, off the top of my head, those first couple places, the trails I'm thinking of are Carter's Mountain. So at the bottom side of Carter's Mountain, you've got the Saunders Monticello trails.
That's a good one.
There's some single track up there. There's some big fields, very dog friendly. The vast majority of people have their dogs on leashes there. So, definitely bring one. That's a really beautiful place to check out a sunset. It's really close. If you want to take a little bit more of a hike, you can go out towards Sugar Hollow, but maybe you don't want the crowds, head over to Patricia Byram. So that's another wilderness area out there that's great. It's very steep.
Whereabouts is that at?
It's if you head out Garth Road towards Sugar Hollow, you'll just keep following Garth as it hooks right at the gas station.
Yeah.
Head down, I guess it would be north, up into the mountains a little ways, should be off on your left a little bit. But yeah, Patricia Byram is going to be the buzzword there.
Okay.
And then aside from that,
Is that where the Doyles River comes out of the mountains?
it's near there, exactly. Yeah, very close, to the Doyle River. And then there's some trails on the Doyles River, too. Some of that is private, some of it is national forest. So national forests are always a great resource for us.
Have you done Preddy Creek?
Preddy Creek?
Yeah.
I haven't.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I'd like to. Actually, I've been hearing a lot about it recently.
North of town, northern Almore County. I think it's fantastic. You done that one?
Yep, I was there a long time ago when it was just a newly acquired property, and it was a great little hike around there.
Yeah, great mountain biking. Walnut Creek is a good
exactly.
one. I enjoy Walnut
We
Creek.
that's a really good place for off-leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no nearby houses with other dogs and stuff.
Where are you going with restaurant-wise, downtown-wise, Charlottesville-wise?
So restaurant-wise, I'm always looking for a patio.
Yeah.
So Whiskey Jar's easy.
It's a good one.
It's a place I'm going to go no matter what, but if I want to bring the dog, I can bring him down there. Let's see, other places in town for the dog. A great spot that not many people know about is Shenandoah Joe's.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Preston?
You can bring your dog inside. They don't serve food.
Nice. I
So
didn't know
you can
that.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. You can hang out, have your coffee, your dog chills with you, and you can be on your way. And then another good spot, but outside of town, is Basic City.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
really
That place is
dog
phenomenal,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
Their beer's phenomenal.
Yeah, and
Great
they've
beer.
worked it out with
Yeah.
the health department to where the actual bar area is probably
separate.
non-pet, but the other area where all the foosball tables and ping pong tables and everything is outside of food service, so you can have your dog.
Dude, that's
Absolutely.
one of my favorite breweries.
It's a really great spot.
The beer
Good
is
stuff,
fantastic.
good
You're a
malty
beer
beers.
guy.
Yep.
Where are you going?
Beer run.
Yeah, you love beer run.
Tuesday is pint night, and There's, it's hit or miss any given Tuesday depending on the weather and everything, but I've seen as many as 5 dogs out front.
Wow.
And, they have the area that's considered outside. It has a nice tent cover that's year-round where it's dog-friendly. Oh. And also Dirty Nellies. There's a space outside where you can hang out with your dog.
Yeah, the little patio right there.
They kind of will bend the rules a little bit. I've seen dogs.
I've totally seen dogs
asleep
in there.
in front of the fire all winter.
That big, was it a
nice
hound
fireplace.
dog by the fireplace?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is the bomb.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
it's got great live music.
And it's been there for what? How many years? Since '78 or so?
Here's a good question for you. And I think we all like going to bars from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many bars in Charlottesville City, can you name that have wood-burning fireplaces? That's one.
Man, I'm blanking.
I don't know if I can name
South Street has one.
Really?
Has a wood-burning fireplace.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do.
Yeah.
Really nice one.
Dirty Nellies and South Street. I think those are the only ones. The Biltmore may have a wood-burning fireplace. What's the pint night deal on Tuesday?
$1 off all pints. Everything on the draft
That's
list.
great.
There you go.
Nice.
Anything else, gentlemen? We filled 40 minutes. It's been easy peasy here.
Nice.
Anything else in the notebook that we haven't covered?
If you're going to take your dog on whitewater, okay, the Rivanna Reservoir is awesome. It's 7 miles of flat water.
Okay.
And the terrain changes. It's got rock cliffs on the side. It's gorgeous. If you want to take your dog on whitewater, the newly opened little park on the left side of Route 29, you can now launch a boat there at the 29 Bridge on the South Rivanna Reservoir. From there to Darden Towel, or if you want to go further, to Riverview Park in Charlottesville, is a good mild whitewater ride.
Yeah.
Once you get past Charlottesville, the next takeout is Milton. And there's 2 rapids there that can be really tricky.
Yep.
So practice before you take your dog there.
Absolutely.
And, of course, launching at Whitehall and making your way down the Free Union on the Mormons is a great crunchy whitewater ride, but you need experience.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Great information. Give us a little more who, what, when, where, why of High Tour.
High Tour. So, like I said before, we are an outdoor gear exchange. So that means consignment, but for those things you want to do, like camping rather than fashion. So hiking and camping, paddling and biking. Like Konrad said, he bought a tandem kayak from us.
Snowshoes.
Snowshoes. You don't quite realize it, but we do get some decent snow up in these mountains. So if you don't have them, then you're stuck at home. So it's a great thing to have in your back pocket.
Every 4 or 5 years, you really need them.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're open 7 days a week right now, 10 to 6 every day except Sunday when we're open 11 to 5. We've got a few different other employees, but vast majority of the time you're going to see me there, you're going to see Lazarus there hanging out, and then Animal Connection right around the corner. We've got Rethreads across the street from us. They're
a great spot.
friend.
Yeah.
Circa, another used goods place. And then Rocky Top right next door as well. So we do a little bit of climbing here and there. But yeah, a lot of what you're going to find at REI, but secondhand.
McIntyre Plaza is thriving right now. Booming. How about, we'll close on this, the behind the scenes from your perspective of what makes Animal Connection tick and be so successful.
Well, it's based on a healthy diet makes a healthy animal. Just like, junk in, junk out with people. Just feeding as natural as possible a diet will keep you out of the vet's office. And my mom, for instance, has 4 dogs and like 8 or 9 cats. Feeds a completely raw diet with a little variation, a little vegetables thrown in. And those animals are amazing. Her cat's fur is some of the nicest cat fur, an amazing fur coats you'll ever see. And she's got an 18-year-old Shih Tzu that behaves like he's 8 years old. Wow. And that's what a good diet can do. And I think Animal Connection is just predicated on a good diet makes a long-term healthy animal.
You're really good at this.
I am?
Yes. Both you guys are.
Hey.
Don't you agree, Harris?
I'm smart.
This has just been like a easy interview. Yeah. Easy interview.
Nice.
We will archive the interview in totality on animalconnectionva.com. For more than 17 years, Animal Connection has been the best and the go-to resource for animals and animal owners in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. The show in totality also on ilovecville.com. We encourage you to put Wednesdays at 3 o'clock on your phone calendar. And what Patty Bowden has done is she's turned her show into kind of the epicenter for positive discussion for animals in the community. Charity, adventures, restaurants, anything animal related we talk about on What's Barking Local. We will see you guys next Wednesday at 3 o'clock on What's Barking Local, powered by Animal Connection. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
Absolutely. That was great.
There's a lot of crap in this head. Yeah, I can give you another 3 hours.